Hey, I'm Hrish Lotlikar, CEO of SuperWorld. I just wrapped up an amazing episode of the Edge of Show where we explored how virtual real estate can have real world utility, why we're launching our token with Republic, and how staking can turn virtual real estate into revenue generating properties and premium assets. If you're curious about the metaverse, augmented reality, and the future of digital ownership, this one's for you.
Hi, Web3 pioneers. Buckle up for today's episode with Hrish Lotlikar, the co founder and CEO of SuperWorld. We explore how SuperWorld is redefining virtual asset in 2025, unlocking new utilities for land ownership and bridging the gap between the real world and the metaverse. We also talk about the future of augmented reality, premium property staking, token powered land revenue generation, and how SuperWorld is creating a platform for anyone to build their own world. Lastly, Hrish takes us inside SuperWorld's upcoming token launch and demos how you can actually buy property in SuperWorld and use some of the more advanced features. All this and more on the Edge of Show, where we spotlight the boldest visions bridging AR, Web3, and the future of immersive digital ownership. Cue the intro.
Welcome to the Edge of Show, your gateway to the Web3 revolution. We explore the cutting edge of blockchain, cryptocurrency, NFTs, ordinals, DeFi, gaming, and entertainment, plus how AI is reshaping our digital future. Join us as we bring you visionaries and disruptors pushing boundaries in this digital renaissance. This show is for the dreamers, disruptors, and doers that are pumped about where innovation meets culture. This is where the future begins.
Hello and welcome to the Edge of Show. I'm your host, Josh Krieger, with my co-host, Richard Carthon. We feature a variety of top-notch guests and other hosts as well. It's another production of the Edge of Company, a quickly growing media ecosystem empowering the pioneers of Web3 tech and culture. Responsible for other groundbreaking endeavors like Outer Edge Innovation Festival in LA and Riyadh.
Today's sponsored show features Hrish Lotlikar, who is the co-founder and CEO of SuperWorld, a visionary entrepreneur at the forefront of metaverse, augmented reality, and blockchain innovation. With a background spanning Wall Street, Hollywood, and Silicon Valley, Hrish has been recognized globally for building immersive digital platforms that blend real-world locations with persistent interactive virtual experiences. SuperWorld is a virtual world mapped onto the real Earth, enabling users to buy, sell, and monetize virtual real estate, create their own worlds, and unlock new land utilities. Under Hrish's leadership, it's launching a token with Republic, introducing premium property staking rewards, and rolling out features shaping the future of virtual real estate and the metaverse.
Hrish, welcome back to the show.
It's great to be here. It's been a while since I've been on the show, and it's amazing what you guys have done in the last few years. So congrats again on all of the hard work and progress, and excited to be here in front of your audience again.
Yeah, I just checked, and the first time you came on our show was actually the day before today. We released the episode August of 2021, so it's been 4 years. Wow.
Wow. Yeah, that's like a lifetime in crypto. So it's been a long 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, congrats on surviving, right? Like, I mean, a lot of companies we had on the show 4 years ago are not even around today. So, major props for that, man.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's we have a very long-term vision, so lots to do, and luckily we've been very fortunate to have great supporters like you guys and our investors and our community. So yeah, it's definitely been a journey, and it's just still very early. That's how I feel.
We should also let our audience know, of course, it hasn't been 4 years since we've seen each other. We've had a lot of fun out on the road at various conferences where you're always speaking as a premier leader in sort of this intersection of digital and physical reality. You spent some time in Hollywood and the VC world, and you've been all in on immersive tech for a while now. I'm really curious, sort of, what excites you at this present moment in terms of this type of technology.
Yeah, it's been an evolution. I got into immersive tech now in 2015. Previously, co-founded Rogue Initiative Studios, which is a film, television, gaming, and immersive studio. My co-founder there had produced Call of Duty, and my partner there is Michael Bay, the action director. And so there, what we do is entertainment franchises. And really that company came from what the Oculus acquisition by Meta, and a lot of the excitement and that industry in terms of immersive tech has gone through its own cycles there. And I think really if you look at what's happening now with augmented reality and this emphasis by all of the major technology companies on building augmented reality headsets, augmented reality platforms and content, I think that we're getting into this sweet spot here for what we're building at SuperWorld, which is a way for anyone to add content to the real world and real world locations. And as you said, bring that digital and physical interaction around us in the world that we live in, as opposed to going into, maybe a totally VR type environment.
Yeah, I think I want to stay there just for a moment because when people think of Superworld and like getting into the core of what it is, some people immediately might think of like metaverse, or like sometimes when people think of metaverse, I think of a video game, but you're doing a lot more than just those two things. So if you were going to describe Superworld to someone outside of the Web3 or AR bubble, like how would you describe it, and how would you say it's evolved since you launched?
Sure. So Superworld is a virtual world mapped on top of the real world. It's all around us. So we're in it right now. You have a world, I have a world, brands have worlds. There's an unlimited number of filters on the world. But the most important part of that is it's here. It's about the real world. It's about real world businesses, about travel. It's about real world assets. It's about DeepIn. It's about things that we can touch and feel in the real world. So the best way to think of it, it's like a map. And we all use Google Maps, right? And so it's very accessible to all of us. You're exactly right, Richard. When a lot of people think of the metaverse, they think of kind of a video game with avatars, right? And that is not what our vision is at Superworld. Superworld, it's better to think of it as a Google map that's interactive, right? So you have a map, I have a map. And if you share your map with me and I interact on your map, maybe with places that you want me to see, maybe it's a restaurant that you're recommending. And as I do that on your map or in the real world, you're benefiting from my interactions. And so your world covers Earth, and I'm able to do anything in the real world, go to places in the real world, or interact digitally on your map, your Google map. We're built on Google. And as I do that, you're benefiting. And then the other part of it is we divided Earth into 64 billion blocks. So each block is a city block covering real world locations. And each one's about 100 polygon to buy, so about $25 in today's prices. But as an owner of that block, you are able to monetize across everyone's map at that location. So you benefit from everything that happens across everyone's world, right, or their map. And so that's kind of what we're building, is a way for you to create your own map, be able to, again, personalize the world for me, as well as for you to also be able to own places in the real world and then benefit from everything that happens there in those locations.
That's awesome. As a quick follow up, one of the first things that kind of came to my mind was like a Pokemon Go, right? So you go into this world, obviously you're trying to go catch them all, get all these Pokemon, etc. But now instead, you're basically living your real life experiences, maybe trying to find like a cool restaurant, or maybe trying to like find something interesting to do. And that's kind of like the lens in which this is kind of going. So is that like a fair distinction, or how would you go with that analogy?
Yeah, that's a really fair distinction. I think, a lot of people use Google Maps, and if I'm coming to your city, I'll give you a use case. So if I'm coming to your city and I say, "Hey, Richard, I'm coming to Austin. Where should I go out? What should I do this week? What events are happening? What maybe you have a hotel recommendation or a gym recommendation, right?" Likely you'd send me some links. You'd send me some website links. Maybe you'd send me some Google Map links. Maybe you'd send me some Instagram links. Or maybe you send me some text. Like, these are all the places you should go. The problem with that is none of the businesses that you're recommending, I mean, you're such a great customer. You're actually, sending out information about them. They have no idea that you're actually recommending them. You actually have no idea what I actually go to. I might actually go to a hotel or a restaurant that you're recommending. I'm obviously asking you, so it's very highly likely that I'm going to take you up on something that you've recommended. You have no idea, and you're also not benefiting. I might even spend $1,000 on a hotel and stay there every time I come to town. You're not benefiting from that. And also, I don't benefit from clicking on any of those links, the Google Map links or the Instagram links or the website links that you're sending over. I might as well just go to Expedia or booking.com and book a place or make a table reservation. The solution that we're building, and you can think of this as the travel kind of use case, is you can say, "Hrish, just check out my world." You're sending me a link. I click on it. I go to a Google map. I mean, we're built on Google, so it looks like a Google map. And I interact with your map. I make a table reservation or I book a hotel. I interact with locations on your map digitally, or I physically walk into those places and check in. And I want to close the loop with you because you're recommending them. But I'm also benefiting by doing those interactions and also by closing the loop, meaning I'm checking into these places. So I'm giving you kind of like a hat tip saying, thanks for that recommendation. And we're all part of a community. So, I'm able to go click, click, click. And the places that I love, they go into my world. And then my friend's like, "Hey, Hrish, I heard you were in Austin. I'm going to be there. What should I do?" Which oftentimes is a question, right? I give him my world. He clicks, goes into my world, stays at that same hotel. I get paid, but you get paid as well because I pulled it from your world. So the idea is, when I'm in your world, interactions that are digital or physical allow you to benefit. And then I can pull those recommendations into my world as well.
So I guess the natural next question for me is, what are the specific use cases or examples of industries where you've seen the most traction with these unique features?
Yeah. So, it's really interesting. We are looking in terms of GTM, go to market, in several different categories. Google Maps, as we're all familiar, is often used for navigation and finding and starring restaurants. I'm not sure if you guys do this or not, but a lot of the world, puts a star on their favorite hotels or restaurants and things as they go travel, right? The problem with that is Google keeps all the vertical search revenue. So if someone clicks around on your Google map, you're not able to benefit from any of that, right? Google has all that data. And what we're doing is we're, again, decentralizing that and enabling you to benefit when you share that Google map with me. So first of all, you can upload your Google map to SuperWorld and all your starred locations appear in your SuperWorld map, and your map can start monetizing for you and benefiting you. And so travel's an easy one because there's just so many people that are creating, travel recommendations on their Google map. The second category is real world assets. So we've partnered with TokenVest out of Dubai, which is the first VARA approved real world asset platform. And they're creating a world. And what they're going to be doing is adding real world assets to their map. And so I can go into, TokenVest map and click real world assets that I believe in or think other people should know about. And I could add those to my world, and others can come into my map and discover, maybe a real estate investment. Maybe it's an investment into a horse. Maybe it's an investment into, a residential property or a commercial property. Literally any gold. It can be any real world asset that you can think of. And again, similar to the travel example, I'm benefiting when people discover those real world assets through my recommendation, through my world or my map. The third category is deepen. So similar to what I've discovered or what I've talked about in terms of travel or the real world asset category, similarly, deepen projects can create maps. And I could discover a deepen project by coming into SuperWorld, signing up for it, and then creating my own physical node, whatever the project happens to be. So again, we have deepen projects already on SuperWorld. One's called Green Zone. They do recycling in real world locations. And then, again, the other category, and this kind of fits with travel, is events. And so we've partnered with Sports Illustrated. They've added 250,000 events to SuperWorld, everything from sports, concerts, and theater events, everything from F1 to the Super Bowl to the Olympics. And I could go into, let's say, Josh's map and maybe learn about some of these events that he thinks are cool that I should check out if I'm visiting his city. And similarly, I come into LA and I buy tickets to the Dodgers game. And Josh benefits because he's effectively recommended those tickets. But the key being that, Josh doesn't necessarily have to go and dig up those events. He just clicks and adds things to his map that he loves, and he's instantly collabing with brands. And so if it's a brand like Edge of Show, I can go into your Edge of Show map and click on content that I love. And now that content goes into my map, and other people who might never have known about your brand or an event that you're doing now discover that event and buy tickets to that event. And so what we're building is a way for anyone, a brand, a user, a not-for-profit organization, to build a map. And then for others, creators or even just users and visitors, to go through maps of content around them and add that content to their own map and make that shareable. And so everyone can discover the world through the eyes of others.
I think that's really awesome. And there's a couple of key themes that I want to just revisit and stay with a little bit longer. And one of the things that we talk about in the world of Web3, Web 1 was read, Web 2 is read write. And basically you're the end product and all the things that you do, whoever owns it makes all the money, right? So with this read write earn, people are now truly for helping to people make these discoveries or to create their maps. They're able to earn by doing a lot of these actions. And so by doing that, obviously SuperWorld has had to make like a tokenomics to support being able to people to be able to do that. So, there's multiple ways, from my understanding, in SuperWorld that people can earn, and one is, like you said, making the map. Other is by sharing. Another is potentially like staking. So, like when you think about like the benefits for all these different like economics within SuperWorld, like why would someone potentially want to be a landowner in SuperWorld? Like why would someone want to come and help make their maps? Like walk us through that side of it.
Yeah, it's a really good question. And I think what you've, summarized is there's lots of ways to get involved in a world, right? And you can see that in the real world, which is kind of an interesting corollary, right? You don't have to own your own real estate. You could rent and just, and do other things, own a car, right? Or even rent a car, or just be involved in selling something digitally, or have a retail store in the real world, right? So we interact in the real world in a variety of different ways. And so I think the interesting thing about how we've enabled the feature set and tokenomics in SuperWorld is that you can be involved in SuperWorld in a variety of ways. I think the most typical way that we see people getting involved, even historically, and I think which is very compelling, is people come into SuperWorld and they understand exactly the framework that I talked to you about, how anyone can create a world, which is like a map. And then, if you have certain locations in the world that you care about, that you think are interesting, maybe it's where you grew up, maybe where you have a property, maybe it's where you own a business, maybe it's, where your family's from or where you go on vacation. Could be where your favorite sports team is, right? It could be literally anything. You can buy and own that location. And so what we typically see is users in SuperWorld, new visitors to SuperWorld, come in and start thinking about places that they have a connection to, and they acquire those places. It's about, as I said, about $20 to $25 in today's prices, about 100 polygon. And so what they do is they buy a property in a place that they care about. And then what happens is that there's a click that goes on in their head. They're like, okay, so I have this property, I own this place. And now they think about, wait, what about where I went to university? Or what about where I went to high school? Or what about where I grew up? Or what about this other place, right? What about a place like Times Square, which I think could be interesting, right? And so people start acquiring those properties. And so that's number one. That's one way to get involved in SuperWorld. And then the next step, which they often do now, is they can create a world. And by the way, you don't have to buy real estate. You can just start by creating a world, which is your own map. It's free to do. As I mentioned, you could upload your Google map for free and it starts monetizing. But you can create a map and then you could start adding content to that map. You can search for, a restaurant or a hotel just as you would on Google Maps, and you can star that location and add it to your map in SuperWorld. And then, as I said, as I digitally interact or physically interact with that business, because I learn about it from your map, you benefit from that interaction. The third way is you could create digital assets. You can upload content to that location. You could create a digital twin, which is a 3D kind of version of your physical location. We've integrated with Matterport software for you to do that. You can even add chat groups to map. So I think we're all in like some WhatsApp group or Telegram groups for a conference, or maybe even for our neighborhood or some geographical kind of interest. And you can add those chat groups right to locations where maybe other people want to discover those. So you can grow your community that way. So the idea is we want to enable people to have lots of use cases on a map. So you can think of it as like a creator platform on the map. And then finally, the token, which is coming, enables users to get involved with the token. We have a number of things that we're doing with token utility that I can go into, which I think are very exciting, that enables people to really leverage the token to, do all the things that they really want to do in these real world locations, and to benefit from that token through payment mechanisms, governance, staking, and rewards.
Yeah, so you have this token launch coming up with Republic. Certainly, these guys are big time. They've launched a number of the most successful projects in the space, and they've been partners of us in the past. We threw a great VIP party together, I think, at the original NFTLA, or the second year we did it. I think actually it all blurs together. 4 years is a long time, as we talked about. But congrats on that partnership, and tell us a little bit about why you chose Republic and what some of the utility coming is that you guys have crafted together.
Yeah. Republic is a great partner. They're, the top tier launchpad token partner in the space. So we definitely, honored to partner with them to get our token out. We're doing a community round with them. We have a whitelist, which is at superworldapp.com/token. For those of you that want to join our whitelist and get in early before the public launch. And then Republic will, again, launch that publicly to their community as well. And then, we have a couple of other launch pads that we'll likely work with as well that we'll announce soon, and then do the public launch, the TGE of our token. So very excited to get the token out there into the market. It's really a long time coming. We've been building SuperWorld since 2017. So been around for a long time in this market, really built out a lot of traction and usability of the product. And really to jump into some of the token utility, I think one of the most exciting things that we've built, and I'll touch on a few things. So one of them has to do with real estate. And this is all in our white paper, which can be found at whitepaper.superworldapp.com. So you want to go in there and read that. But basically, we're enabling users who own virtual real estate to be able to stake to their real estate and to be able to turn their real estate into premium real estate. And that premium real estate allows them to earn rewards from global real estate sales that are happening in SuperWorld. And so again, just to clarify and sync with you, when you buy virtual real estate in SuperWorld, as many people have done, you are a stakeholder in a real world location, in a specific location on Earth where you own that real estate, and you're able to benefit from everything that happens there across everyone's map. Now, this new staking token utility that's coming will allow you to become a stakeholder across the map, across SuperWorld, in that virtual real estate category. So you're able to earn rewards from staking from global virtual real estate.
So why now, I guess, is the big question, right? I mean, you've had an active ecosystem for quite some time. A lot of projects probably would have pulled the trigger on a token earlier, right? In the sense that it's kind of the cool thing to do, but it sounds like there's a lot of thought that's gone into sort of timing this with the maturation of SuperWorld itself. So I'm really curious in terms of what made you feel like now was the right moment.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, we've been around since 2017, so we could have done this back then. There's been a few cycles there with an opportunity to launch a token. We definitely are building for the very long term, and what we want to do is again have a product that users can use and use that token, and in addition to that, we wanted to make sure, just in terms of regulatory frameworks, in terms of the overall market and appetite for tokens, we kind of were waiting for a lot of things that we were very sure of that would kind of slowly kind of come to take place here in terms of some of those frameworks and the overall kind of market. We're building a very global product. We're building the vision of SuperWorld is massive. Again, we have a very, very long-term roadmap here. We're building a world. And so the token is a big part of that, but we want a token that can be accessible in all markets. We're an American company. I think now in the US, the regulatory environment really is getting to become more open. It's there's a lot of frameworks that are being put in place now. And so timing wise, especially for what we're trying to build here, which is a token that has mass appeal, with, again, our vision is how can we enhance people's real lives? And then collectively, how can we use this technology to positively impact Earth and humanity? I always say the world needs SuperWorld. It's like the world needs Superman or Superwoman. The world needs SuperWorld. And that is a token that I think a lot of people would want to get behind and support. And I think we waited till market conditions and regulatory conditions have really opened the way for people to understand that they want to have a token, they can have a token, and they want to have a token that they believe in, and they want to back a project that has a long-term roadmap and
Yeah.
a vision that they believe in. So that was kind of the idea of waiting.
I just wanted to underscore one of the points you made, which is having the right conditions for success. I mean, the pro crypto environment that's now sort of blossoming in the United States, the Middle East, as well as Asia, it's never quite been this good across the board. It always feels like, if it's a if all these different places are a deck of cards, that you have, an ace one place, but you have like a two or a four of spades this other place, and the cards never line up. But the cards are sort of lined up now, where a project like SuperWorld, an experience like this, can open up so many new possibilities for folks, and experiences where you don't have to worry about Big Brother necessarily coming over and saying, no, you can't do that. Of course, there's still going to be a rule book, a playbook for playing in this new sort of more regulated economy. But it seems like most governance legislation coming out across the board is trying to reward good actors and just punish the bad actors. So a project like Superworld has a lot more potential now than ever before.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I'm very happy that there's regulatory clarity coming out of the U.S. and other places, and that was really what we were waiting for. And again, we've been building and continue to build the product, and ultimately, we're building this to provide real world utility. I love to travel. I gave you the travel example. I think there's a lot of people that are passionate about real world assets and DePIN and events and all the other categories that we talked about. These are real world kind of use cases, and so we built it out to for this moment. So very excited about the excitement around tokens.
Definitely. And, I think that part is really cool. But I want to go back to Worlds. I know you briefly talked about it, but I want to spend a little bit more time there because the thing that has me the most excited about this is when I think about like things that are being built in Web3 and like, sure, trying to like have all of the token economy wrapped into it is a good part of it. But then I think the most important part is the product itself. And when I think about like just in my own use cases about when I think about who I follow on Instagram or TikTok, etc., one of the things I'm really interested in is travel. Being able to go to unique places and see really cool things, and also knowing like where are good things to eat. Because like I'm a foodie, I really enjoy going to a new location and finding the best spots to go and eat. And so like just having something like this where people can go and map out a lot of this stuff. And like you said, you can send me a link and now I go into this new city because I know you're in Portugal for a while. My plan is to go out there one day and like, oh, cool. I can go hit up this restaurant. I can go check out this spot. I can go do all of that. Like that social side of that, I think is really exciting. And then like, I think as an added bonus for people who would just be excited in that capacity to know that, oh, I could earn while doing that too. I think it's an added bonus. But I just think about like, for the worlds that people can create, like this could have like a viral effect in the sense of like KOLs or influencers or micro influencers or I even think about like I'm from Louisiana in the States, and there are a lot of cities that I've had to go through road trips and do things with that my family has said, hey, you should stop here, you should go here, you should go XYZ. And like the fact that they could go and create something in their own niche place in the world and say like, hey, these are the cool places that you can hit up. Like I see how this could compound in a very real way. And I think that part's pretty cool.
Yeah, we're excited about it. I mean, if I were going to kind of step back even further outside of these use cases of travel, real world assets, and DePIN, I think a way of thinking about what we're building at Superworld is a way of discovering content that is phygital, right? So meaning there is a digital component to that. Maybe it's a restaurant that you're able to make a reservation at, or maybe visualize or walk into, an event and see something. But then you're also able to physically interact with that content in a physical place or in a physical way. And, what I think that's really interesting is the ability to discover this type of content around you, whether it's, as we said, restaurants or hotels or tourist kind of places, whether it's chats that you may have placed somewhere that I can, again, get on a chat group and then physically go and meet someone, whether it's real world assets. I'm looking at a building digitally, and then I can interact with it physically by walking into it in the physical world, or even buying it, investing in it. Superworld is a place to discover, create, and monetize with digital content is kind of the other way of thinking about our big vision.
That's great. So we covered so much in terms of features. I'm surprised we didn't have to make this episode like 3 times as long as normal, because there's a lot to catch up on. You covered all the highlights of the different features and a lot of detail. Appreciate that. And we'll do a demo soon for our audience as well. But let's talk about the roadmap for a minute. As if all these partnerships and features aren't enough, like what's next? What's in your mind for Q4, Q1, going into next year?
Yeah, so we have again a token launch coming. So that's our focus over the next month or two, as we kind of get all of those things out into the public with Republic, the other launch pads, and then do a TGE. And then the roadmap is pretty clear from there. Building out some of the functionality that you can read about in the white paper, which also outlines more detail around that roadmap. So a lot of the functionality around staking to the virtual real estate, to building out the payment infrastructure, which some of it we already have in SuperWorld, but building more of it out. I think what's really interesting is you probably know that Airbnb recently in the last few months added services and experiences to their product. Besides just, being able to rent a place, you can now get a photographer or get a chef or something to come to your place. So you can think of SuperWorld as well as a kind of a creator marketplace on the map. So if I come to your city, users specifically can provide services, and we're doing it all using, more of a Web3 approach to this, decentralized. So you can think of any of those creator marketplace economies, Web3 on a map. And so payment infrastructure is very important there. And so building out all of that using our token is also part of the roadmap. Addition to that, the rewards aspects of the token as it relates to that phygital interaction, the digital and the physical, and receiving rewards for all of those interactions is a big part of the roadmap. We want everyone who either creates a world, who encourages other people to interact in real world places, maybe buy virtual real estate. We just launched a leaderboard last week. So superworldapp.com/leaderboard. So if you can jump on that leaderboard right away, just join the whitelist and start sharing the whitelist, and you'll see that you'll start landing there. We have an airdrop that will be announced as well. We'll be checking out the leaders of that leaderboard in terms of that airdrop, and all of the supporters that we have in our community are also on that leaderboard. But there's easy ways basically for us all. I think the vision here is all of us as stakeholders in SuperWorld can build SuperWorld together. That's the vision. The vision is how can we all own the world around us and build a world that positively impacts Earth and humanity. And when with that kind of mission in mind, that roadmap that I spoke to you about, even further evolves as we enable more brands to join, as more maps get created. I think the really cool thing is that and this happens all the time, because someone will create a map, or user or brand will create a map, and they'll tell me, hey, you know what, I wish I could do this. Can I add a premium piece of content where someone has to maybe buy that? Maybe they want a table, they want me to get them some table reservation at a restaurant that only I can get. Maybe I should be able to add that as a premium piece of content. Or maybe there's a tour or something, as I mentioned to you, in terms of creator marketplace, right? So we're always excited about adding features. Even the chat group feature came from a user request, right? How can I add, groups here to the map? The other part of it that I also think is really interesting is, as Web3 evolves, and as many of the mechanisms for fundraising around tokens, community around tokens, the socialify aspects of Web3, all of these things are part of the roadmap in terms of integrations with real world locations. And as brands and other projects integrate with SuperWorld, we can add and integrate that functionality into the platform as well. So we don't want to build it all. I gave you the Sports Illustrated example. We didn't build out tickets. Sports Illustrated has built that out into their SI tickets category. TokenVest is building out real world assets. Green Zone is doing recycling type initiatives. And so the partners that we integrate with actually help us build out a lot of the roadmap as well. So we're kind of all building it together, which is very exciting.
So yeah, Hrish, that was an awesome roadmap. All of those features sound really exciting. I know I have personally seen this, and I think for a lot of people who are about to see this demo are going to be really excited to see what's already available. Where you're bringing it and all these extra features are going to be really cool. But even what you have right now, I think is sensational. So we're going to now kick over into the demo side of this, and yeah, excited to check everything out.
Yeah, so without further ado, Hrish, let's start with a demo of how does someone actually purchase land within SuperWorld, and then we'll get into some of the more sophisticated features.
Sure. Yeah. Let me walk you through the property interface in SuperWorld. So first and foremost, you come to the map interface, and when you enter SuperWorld from the home screen, you can see Explore Virtual Real Estate, and you'll click in and you'll get to this map screen. And once you're at the map screen, you click on the property interface, which is the property tab here. And just to show you how that works, I'm zooming out, and if you see all those kind of little dots that are slowly populating all over the map, and they'll slowly kind of populate everywhere as we wait for them to start kind of coming in. You'll see that people buy everywhere, right? All over the world. And so again, just zooming in, as those slowly populate, I'm just going to go into New York City. And by the way, you can see people even, buy in the ocean here. I think that's the place where the Titanic went down over there in the Atlantic. So, all kinds of places people are interested in content or adding content or monetizing, obviously. So, but just zooming in on the map here, you can see that there's blocks here that are blue. The blue blocks are the ones that are already owned. So I'm just going to zoom in and click on one of these blue ones just to show you how this works. So if I wanted to buy a blue one, make an offer on that property. Okay, anything that's not colored is available. This one's available, as I said, if it's not colored, it's available for 100 polygon, which is about $23. And as an owner of this block, if I buy this, then I earn at this location across advertising, e-commerce, digital commerce, data, gaming, analytics, bookings, anything you can imagine, real world assets across everyone's map. And then just finally, just to show you another thing, if I look at some of the orange ones are the ones that someone has owned and then repriced. So I'm just going to click on one of these just to show you how this works. So if I click on one of these, this one is repriced to about $40,000, so about 180,000 polygon. And then this one's priced at about $42,000, so 188,000 polygon. And only to show you that once you buy a property, it's yours. You can reprice it to whatever you want. But as an owner of the property, you earn at that location across everyone's map. So, I can show you now how to buy a property. It's pretty easy to do.
So Hrish, I gotta ask, like, when people are making a decision on what type of property they want, what are your recommendations for what attributes they consider, given all the different features and ways to sort of use their property, especially with the token coming along?
Yeah, one thing I always say as a general rule is go after places that you care about, that you have a connection to, maybe where you're spending time, maybe where you're spending resources, meaning you have a business there, or you have maybe it's your favorite sports teams, you go to the game, or you want to go to the game or be involved somehow. And so I think that's kind of the best way to think about it as it relates to the feature set, right? Because ultimately we're building features for you to realize the vision of why you either built your world, which is your own map, and added places to that map, or acquired locations of virtual real estate. We want to enable you to do those things that you want to do at those locations.
So Richard and I have already bought land in the past, and I'd like to. I'm optimistic that owning some of the locations of the best In-N-Out burgers around the world is going to be quite worthwhile at some point in time. But let's start from scratch here. Take us through sort of this buying experience and help us pick our next piece of property.
Do you have any places that you care about? Like, where in the world do you love that you maybe
Well,
been to recently, or that you spent a lot of time?
I can speak to that. So something that comes to mind immediately is, as you said, we're in the world of Web3. We go to a lot of events. A big
Yep.
one that happens pretty much every single year is in Singapore. So how about we go check out there?
Yeah, let's go.
yeah, I mean, all the actions around the Marina Bay Sands, right? You got the core conference, but then hundreds of side events, and Richard and I have spent a lot of time over there.
Okay, amazing. So here we go. We're just zooming out on Singapore. You see those hot spots. So people already own properties in and around Singapore. Let's see, the Marina Bay Sands. I think it's probably in this spot somewhere. I could just search for it actually, and just hotel. Let's check here. There you go, Marina Bay Sands. Boom. So, that comes up as a property. Just to show you, I could just click here as I find that, and then click buy, and it shows me the property. Now, in this case, this property is already owned because it's blue, right? So I'd have to make an offer. So in this case, let's go to maybe a spot right next to it that's available for the base price of 100 polygon. Does this one sound good, or is there something else that you?
What about a little bit on the above it? Can you scroll up a little bit?
Yeah.
So, yeah, what about sort of that first available one above where your cursor is? What's that?
This one right here.
Yeah.
This is well, again, the name here just corresponds to something on the map. This, by the way, this photo and this name can be changed by users once you own a property. And so the property is just covering this area. So if you zoom in here, you could see what's here. It looks like Pororo Park, Sofra, there's Midtown Mart. There's a few different businesses here, but it's right on Raffles Avenue. So pretty good spot here downtown.
What about next to it, upper left, like diagonal to it? Looks like more businesses. What's over there?
This one. So Park Royal Collection, Marina Bay. It looks like a hotel. Lots of restaurants here. Yeah.
Cool.
Looks like
That seems like a cool spot.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay, got it. So basically, once I've figured out the property, Next thing I want to do is click on my wallet. In this case, I've connected my MetaMask wallet, but if you have, Wallet Connect or Magic Connect or Coinbase, all of those are available. If you connect to Wallet Connect, there's lots of wallets, as you know. So we have pretty much every wallet available. But then once you've connected here and you have your property, there's actually two things you can do. So if you know that you want to buy more than one, you could click bulk buy and you press the command button and that other symbol there. And you could start, like clicking on more than one property. You see that where it allows you to buy more than one. Or you can just go back to the original one that you just wanted and you can click and buy. And it's really just one click. You click buy. It opens up your wallet over here on the top right. Just connecting here to Polygon. I don't know if you see that on my screen or not.
No, but we can, based on your description, makes sense. I believe it's probably like an overlay of the like MetaMask. But we can see on the left-hand side that the transaction is trying to go through.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it. So we just wait for that transaction to go through. And let me see here. Just confirming. There you go.
We'll let this have some time.
Obviously, it's we're in a bull market, so all these different blockchains
Do you see it?
a little. Yep. There we go.
There you go.
Congrats.
Yeah. So that was it. So got the purchase, and then I can take this and copy my referral link and send it on to others. And I can earn free plots that way as well. So every new customer I bring in to SuperWorld, I earn a free plot of virtual real estate after their first time property purchase. And I can track that on our leaderboards. We're also tracking secondary referrals. So if I refer someone and then they refer other customers, I'm also benefiting from those secondary referrals. That's all at superworldapp.com/leaderboard.
Nice. That's great. Yeah, I mean, everyone loved Monopoly, I think growing up, and this is a whole lot more utility now with what you're doing with SuperWorld. It's actually a way to sort of share and celebrate the things you love in life. So beautiful. Thanks for that demo.
Yeah, thank you. And then you can see here, I can sell that property, or I could just keep it, just blue, and it's not listed for sale. In this case, someone would have to make an offer on it, or if I want to, sell it or relist it, I can click that sell button and relist it.
Thanks, Hrish, for talking us through the buying and selling experience in SuperWorld. You mentioned a lot of really cool features earlier in the show. Can we showcase some of those features that are available with these other icons and what you can do in SuperWorld?
Yeah, for sure. So, again, what we were reviewing there is the properties tab, right? And so again, able to go around the world and to buy properties. And again, the way you can visualize where people have bought is those hotspots that like are slowly populating all over the map. But let me go ahead and show you some of the other features that we have as we discussed. So I'm going to just fly over back to New York City just to show you again how this works and how it moves, like using the map and kind of flying all over the place. But, again, as people bought properties, we asked our users, and I touched on this earlier when we talked about roadmap. I talked to users and asked them, so why did you buy these properties? What was the use case? And what they did was they told us the use case. They were like, hey, I want to add my business to this location. So we enabled them to create a business profile and add that to a location. Others were like, I want to use this and upload content to a real world location. So any type of content, 3D, 2D, audio, you can post links. So links from your YouTube videos, you could post your Instagram content, you could post website content to real world locations. any type of content. You could build a digital twin. So if you have a 3D version of a building or a hotel, you can build that out into 3D. We have an integration with Matterport. And so again, you could build out a 3D, a building or a piece of real estate that you have. Maybe it's your office. We've also enabled users to build out a store. So maybe you have a retail store and you want them to come in and shop. We've integrated here with Shopify as well as Matterport. So you can enable people to come in and they can actually buy things in your store. You could create events and sell tickets. You could create digital assets and sell those in real world locations. And as I mentioned, we just recently added group chat. So you can add your Telegram or your WhatsApp chats right to the map. And what we've done is we've connected all of these different feature sets. And what we enable you to do is create a world. And a world is basically like your own map. And so one of the first worlds that was created was by Sports Illustrated. As you know, they're the biggest sports brand in the world. They've added 250,000 events to SuperWorld, to their map. They have a division called SI Tickets. And so SI Tickets, they have events across sports, concerts, and theater events, everything from F1 to the Super Bowl to Yankees games, et cetera. So as an example, I've come here on their map and I can buy a ticket to the Ryder Cup, which is a golf tournament. But if I own virtual real estate in this location, I earn from that ticket sale. But the idea, as I mentioned before, is that anyone can create a world in SuperWorld. So world is a map. And so when you own virtual real estate, you earn across everyone's world. So Sports Illustrated is an example of one world, but everyone has a world. And so your world is your own map. You can add any type of content. All of those features allow you to do all kinds of things all over your map. And you can, again, create experiences. You can sell things. You can sell tickets. You can add real world assets, all of these things on your map. And if you own the real estate, you earn across everyone's map. And so let me just show you a quick example. What's your favorite restaurant? Richard or Josh? I know you guys travel a lot.
So there's a restaurant in LA I love called Avra. It's a Greek restaurant and they fly in the fish fresh every day, and you can get this salt crusted fish that's like absolutely amazing.
Amazing. Here it is. So Avra Beverly Hills.
There's the showcase. So you actually go into the fish market at the back of the restaurant, choose the fish you want them to cook for you.
Wow, it looks amazing. So, I trust your instincts here with LA and your recommendation. So I'm going to star that to my world. And if you look here, I just clicked star to my world. And what it's going to do is it's going to save to my world. Okay. And basically now what Avra, that restaurant, is now in my world. And I'm just going to zoom back over here to it. And as I go into that restaurant, I can check into it digitally, or I can check into it physically in that real world location. And as I do that, that physical check-in or that digital check-in allows me to benefit from any of those interactions that are happening there.
In what way do you benefit from those interactions?
So basically, the token is going to give me rewards from those digital interactions. And so the digital interaction. So you're giving me a location. I'm gonna say that's a restaurant, let's say for dining. It adds it to my map. And then as someone interacts with that restaurant digitally or physically, it adds a dinner bell to this.
So this is speaking of like dinner bell, it just kind of went off in my head. I mean, this is a game changer when you think about Google reviews and TripAdvisor and Yelp. The incentive structure is one-sided at best. I mean, you put people do it for the love of sharing information, knowledge, but there's no reward mechanism available whatsoever. You're sort of flipping the script here.
Yeah, exactly. Whether it's you're using Yelp or you're using Google Maps, both of those platforms are benefiting from all of those interactions. And basically, what we're enabling you to do as a user or a brand is to create your world. And so, Edge of Show could create a world, and all of the viewers of this of your content of this YouTube channel, as an example, can also benefit from all your recommendations, because you guys not only do content, but you guys know of so many venues, right? And so you as a brand could collab with Sports Illustrated Ticketing, or you could collab with a restaurant or a business that you love. You could collab with, tokenized real world assets that you believe in. You could collab with deepen projects, right, that you want to showcase. And so the idea is, as others create maps, it could be an artist that you love that has a map of their artwork, right? And so you could literally click and collab, just like we did with Avra here. I've added it to my world. And if Richard learns about Avra through me and digitally or physically goes there and checks in, I get tokens for that.
So Richard, we have to put in the Edge world that place we had the beef bone broth soup for breakfast in Seoul after Korea Blockchain Week.
Yeah, there's plenty of spots we got to go back and start earmarking for sure.
That's great, Hrish. Thanks for this more comprehensive view. And for our listeners at home, you're just gonna have to go to SuperWorld and see for yourself what we're talking about, or check out our YouTube to get the full sort of picture here on what's going on with SuperWorld. But such an honor to have you back on the show, and so excited about your upcoming launch at Republic. Where should folks go to learn more and get involved?
Go to superworldapp.com/token to get on our whitelist. You can go from there to our website, which is superworldapp.com. Log in, create a world. If there's virtual real estate that you are connected to and that you love, places in the world that you care about, acquire some virtual real estate, share the link to that as I showed you. Again, our vision is what if we could all together build and own a decentralized virtual world that could positively impact people's lives and then collectively build a better world. And so, I'd love for you to be part of this community, be part of that vision. And we're very excited to, again, welcome so many new community members here with our token launch. So I appreciate the opportunity to share our vision.
Yeah, thank you for coming on and spending this time with us. We're going to share a lot more details with our listeners and our viewers. So stay tuned, and encourage everyone to consider being part of what SuperWorld is up to moving forward. Thank you again, Hrish, for your time today.
We've reached the outer limit at the Edge of Show for today. Thanks for exploring with us. We have room for more adventurers on our starship, so invite your friends and cool strangers to join our journey. If you're among the hundreds of thousands following us on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, or watching us on Myco or YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, rate us, and make an awesome comment too. And don't forget to pass this episode along to a friend or two who would benefit from it. Doubling back to again, recommend checking out myco.io, where you can watch The Edge of Show and earn for your time and attention. That's myco.io. Don't forget to visit theedgeofshow.com. The is part of the domain name, where you can learn more about collaborating with us and also subscribe to the Edge of Weekly newsletter for the latest Web3 news, events, and show drops. In addition, connect with us on all major social platforms by searching for The Edge of Show. Join the exciting conversations happening online. Lastly, be sure to tune in next time for more great Web3 and AI content. Until then, keep pushing the boundaries. Thanks again for hanging out with us today. The views and opinions expressed on the Edge of Show reflect solely those views and opinions of the show host and its guests. Please make sure to do your own research. Our show is not financial advice. You understand that you are using any and all information on or through this podcast at your own risk. Whenever making financial decisions, we recommend doing your own research and talking to your accountant for financial advice. From time to time, we may feature sponsored content on the show for which we receive value, and we may share links for which we receive a commission if you make a purchase through one of these links. Refer to our website, www.edgeofnft.com, for our full disclaimer, terms and conditions, and privacy policy.